What's up, everybody? Welcome to this reaction to the season finale of The Last of Us. Maybe slight spoiler review. I'm not going to talk too long on it, maybe about 8 to 12 minutes, because we've got a spoiler review coming on Monday, as I'm recording this tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. PT with the Geek Buddies. But I had to talk about my reactions to this finale here. Look for the light. What a just kind of shocking finale, brutal finale, and one that is going to stick with me for quite some time. I mean, I haven't played the game, so those of you who've played the game, you knew this ending was coming, kind of like people who read Game of Thrones knew that Red Wedding was coming. But this Last of Us season 1 finale just absolutely wrecked me emotionally, because we got to see the beginnings of Ellie, and of course the great Ashley Johnson coming in to play her mom, Anna. We see the birth of Ellie. We see that she's exposed to those cordyceps long enough to build an immune system because of her mom being attacked by who we assume was either chasing her in the forest or had been in the house waiting for her. She hands over Ellie to Marlene. We find out Marlene and Anna have been friends for years, and she ends up having to kill Anna because Anna's been bit, and Anna asks her to do it. And now Ellie is handed off to Marlene to take care of. And of course, that's how years later, Marlene ends up essentially handing Ellie off to Joel to transport across that wasteland to the QZ that's now in Salt Lake City. And, the first half of this finale is spent on, I don't know, this relationship between, obviously, once we get past her being born in the flashback, but the next 10 15 minutes is really focused on their relationship. And Joel is a different Joel. He's much more jovial and caring and open, and you're seeing Joel with all the walls down, and it's a little unsettling, the vulnerability, the surrendering of himself to Ellie. And of course, on one side of the coin, it's very sweet because he talks about his near suicide. He talks about that he doesn't understand why he flinched and that he's glad he didn't flinch. He gives Ellie credit, in essence, for helping him heal from the loss of his daughter. And Ellie is distracted. Ellie is kind of like, they're so close. I think Ellie's thinking about what's going to happen. It's really fascinating. He kind of asks or says she's more quiet than she usually is, but she doesn't go into it. And you're left to wonder, is Ellie pondering what may happen, that she may die in this surgery, or this may end up messing her up, or the time together with Joel is near an end, so she's really caught up in processing that. For all the badassery that she is, she's still a young girl, a young person, and so the emotions and the processing of it all is still going to occur inside of her. So she's weird behavior throughout the first part of this whole finale here, where she drops the ladder. Joel has to get it. She runs around to get to the giraffe, and the giraffe is really beautiful and interesting. I'm sure the giraffe symbolizes something. I don't have all of that laid out until the finale, but eating the vegetation, living off the land, that kind of thing. Maybe it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen when they get to Wyoming, where in essence they're going to have to live off the land to survive. But very beautiful moments. Joel seeing her laugh and giggle, and Ellie being like Ellie also kind of with the walls down and being just a young teenager, and Joel just falling in love with her again as his pseudo daughter. And so this is so weird what happens to them. Not weird in a negative way. It's just like you don't see it coming because, of course, of what had happened there where she was nearly raped. Joel feels an even stronger, my baby girl now. We were all cheering for my baby girl moment last week, right? Like everyone was in tears and been led through the emotional ringer for that. But this is the other side of it. And Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann talked about that in the mini doc after this episode, the idea of what we do for love as human beings and how we value the people we love, who we know, more than the kind of generalization of humanity, the kind of faceless humanity that we're supposed to care about her equally as we care about our own, but that's not always the case. I mean, we saw that in Marvel with Captain America versus Tony Stark versus Iron Man. You could argue that he chose Bucky over the Avengers, Bucky over what he should have done, which was to turn Bucky in and what have you. But some of you were on Team Cap side. Some of you are like, hell yeah. And I guess this is what it led to eventually, is this controversial ending, which, listening to Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin after the episode talk about that this is an ending that is still kind of split the fandom. Some people were into it, some people weren't into it. Let's get to that finale here. We find out that Marlene, we see the concussion grenade go off after Joel has had this emotional catharsis and has like surrendered his vulnerability to Ellie, and essentially implying that Ellie helped him get over the death of Sarah, and that Ellie has kind of, Ellie can be told the suicide story. And so then they're telling puns to each other. And of course, like any great show, as soon as the people let their guards down and start laughing, something terrible happens. A concussion grenade explodes. It's the Fireflies. Joe wakes up after he's been knocked out, and Marlene is there. And Marlene says, this is the deal. We got to operate on her. The doctor we have says this cordyceps thing was in her from birth and it's grown with her. And so it fools the other cordyceps that she is one like them. So it makes her immune, which is kind of like Walking Dead, where they had to paint the zombie guts on put the zombie guts or blood on themselves so that the other zombies wouldn't come after them. We saw that many times in The Walking Dead. So this is kind of a version of that. But we find out that Marlene has not told Ellie that, and given her the choice, that it will kill her, in essence, because they got to take it out of her brain. Joel realizes this and initially is resistant to it. Then he's knocked down. And for whatever reason, and really curiously, Marlene says to the guys, take him to the highway, give him his pack, and then hands the knife to give to Joel. That is the same knife that Anna gave Marlene when she gave Ellie to Marlene. And so it's an interesting, did Marlene want this to happen? Did Marlene not want to go through with it herself? There's a lot of questions you could have about Marlene's decision. She knows how capable Joel is, but she also knows when she sees Joel that Joel has formed an emotional attachment to Ellie. If Ellie and Joel reached this QZ like 4 episodes ago, there's no way Joel pulls what he's about to pull in this finale. He absolutely lets her go, says it sucks, she's dead. Oh, well, the rest of humanity is what matters. But because he's attached this connection to her, and she's essentially become, Ellie has his replacement for Sarah, there is this sense of feeling like I have to protect her at all costs. Because remember, that's been running through the whole first season, is this idea that Joel comes up short in protecting the people he cares about. He opened up to Tommy about it when he was there at that place. And Joel does give Ellie early in the episode saying like, hey, let's get out of here. Gives her the out. Let's get out of here. We don't have to do this. And Ellie's the one that has to tell Joel, no, we're seeing this to the end. We've got to see this to the end. So when Joel is getting let out by these guys and he flips out and kills those dudes and essentially becomes a one-man killing machine throughout that hospital, you understand it, because the Joel that's been conflicted is the Joel that can be, can maybe have his aim affected or his emotions affected and his decision and judgment affected. But a singularly focused Joel will absolutely brutally kill anyone in the way of something he loves, because of the trauma of having lost Sarah the way that he did and couldn't protect her. He now, when he forms an attachment, nothing else matters. And I saw some people commenting on, I think on social media, or read a couple of reviews, people were like, oh, it's not believable and blah, blah, blah. You can't have it both ways. Either you bitching that we don't get to see enough of the brutality of Joel and have ourselves question Joel, or you get it and then you're questioning why we got it. I think as someone who is at times, when I'm when the click happens and I'm focused on something, nothing can stop me from getting to it. All right. I have that within me. So I connected to that with Joel. Joel just hit, when that switch hit and he knew what he had to do, he did it. And look, he wasn't hesitant. He was very calm. Like, people were shooting at machine guns. He took care of business. And I don't care how trained those people were. We had to see Joel's brutality, the depths with which and the ruthlessness with which he was willing to go to in order to save Ellie, because he loves her. And certainly mowing down everybody to where he gets into the surgery room and tells him to hook her. And the doctor, who is the only doctor that can create this serum, in essence, that will save everyone because they'll get those cells in the blood and all of that, he just shoots him in the head the second the doctor walks to him and says, I'm not going to let you take her. There's no hesitancy. There's no conversation, no back and forth. It's just brutal. Kind of like the fungus, right? He almost becomes the fungus because when the fungus is attacked far away, the fungus sends everything that is connected to the fungus, all these humans that they've taken over, the infected, sends it to that direction like they did, in episode 3 with Tess and Joel and Ellie in that house where Tess dies. So, so it's just, it's you see the brutality of Joel mirroring the brutality of the cordyceps, because Joel needs Ellie to live just like these cordyceps or these fungus need each other to live. So it's just that kind of, it just was really shocking to see that all go down. And Pedro Pascal was fantastic here, just absolutely, just, completely wiped of emotion, taking care of business, doesn't kill the nurses, carries Ellie out, takes her into the truck. And when Ellie comes to, and then they have the conversation with Marlene in the parking garage. And there's a nice button to what happened, or a callback to what happened in the beginning of the episode, because it's Marlene who has to kill Anna in order to save Ellie, because Anna won't stop coming after them as this thing. When she finally turns, the same thing happens here. Ellie with Joel. Marlene gives him the option to get out, and Joel shoots her in the stomach the first second he can, and puts Ellie in the truck, and then walks over. And when Marlene is begging for her life, in essence, and saying, wait, you don't have to kill me, let me live, he does what Marlena should have done, which was to kill her. Straight headshot. Marlena should have killed Joel the second he resisted to this happening, because Joel's life is not worth it to save all of humanity. You kill Joel to save all of humanity. Marlena couldn't do it. And so, but Joel can. Joel has that gear. And so we've been waiting to see this version of Joel that's been teased to us. And we saw elements of it in previous episodes, but this is the full, real taste of what everyone's been talking about, why Tommy's fucked up when he thinks about Joel, why people who talk about Joel talk about him in such a ruthless way. We see it come to fruition here in this moment. In this scene throughout the hospital, and then boom, in this moment with Marlene when he just headshots her. And then he gets in the car driving. When Ellie comes to, he lies to her. He lies to her about that there were 12 other people who also were immune, but it didn't work, and the doctors don't want to do this anymore. And lies that the Raiders came in and killed the Fireflies, and he was barely able to get her out. They get to Wyoming. The car breaks down. They go hiking for 5 hours, and he's just like, yeah, we can go hiking. We've done that. It's no big deal. He's all living this fantasy with her that she's, in essence, the replacement for Sarah, even though he's aware she's not Sarah. It's like a Vertigo kind of thing a little bit, if you guys remember the Hitchcock film. But as they're coming up the mountain, he talks about Sarah. He's so open about Sarah now, willing to talk about Sarah with her. And Ellie eventually confronts him, tells him the story of Riley and how she had to kill Riley, and asks him to be honest with her and say, hey, is everything you told me the truth about what happened with the Fireflies? And man, it's just like, whoa. In that moment, Joel lies to her. And, it's like, and parents do that. Parents lie to their children all the time to protect them. And maybe Joel's convinced himself that he has to lie to her to protect her. But in that moment, you're just like, oh my God, this show has taken a complete turn for the worse. And us as fans, I think it's great. As us as viewers, the show completely fucks with us in a great way, because all we've been doing is cheering on these two, finding a way to get along, finding a way to get together. But how many of us who have not played the game saw that once Joel made an emotional connection to Ellie, nothing else was going to matter? And Craig Mazin, I think, says this in the post-show doc, where he says, once for Joel, it's the easiest thing. If it's humanity or Ellie, he's always going to choose Ellie. And it's the easiest choice he's ever made, which is why he can mow everybody down with such simplicity, because there is no questioning in him during that whole scene. And so, so when he lies to Ellie, we have moved to a whole different relationship now, and the screen goes black perfectly, and we go into a second season wondering how this is all going to play out. And once Ellie finds out that Joel lied about this, the person she loves the most, and Bella Ramsey said this in the post-show doc as well, that like she knows, Ellie knows that Joel is lying to her, but she can't let herself believe it, because if she does, then the whole purpose of her life was taken away by someone that she loves the most. Remember earlier in the episode, she says, once we're done with this, I'll follow you wherever you want to go. We'll go to get the sheep farm. We'll do whatever you want to do. She surrenders herself to him. She'll follow him wherever. So Joel has been waiting for this replacement for Sarah. That's what's been eating him up for 20 years. And he'll be goddamned if anyone is going to take it away from him. And so this is what you see in the back half of the episode. And it is brutal. Love can be the most incredible thing. And all of us were cheering on Joel, catching Ellie after she had killed David last week and saying, my baby girl, my big girl. Well, now here's the other side of it. His love is so all consuming and unsettling. He has transferred his trauma onto Ellie and now created the ability for him to kill anyone that ever tries to mess with her. And that is going to lead to some real sticky situations, I imagine, in season 2. And I wouldn't be surprised the eventual breakup of Ellie and Joel, where Ellie tells him, I'm not your daughter. I never was your daughter. Get the fuck over it, And so that's going to be something that's going to be real interesting to see in season 2, and how Ellie reacts to her getting older, and does she take more control of what she is, what she can do? Is there another doctor maybe down the road who can perform this, and Ellie will sacrifice herself for the rest of the world because she'll be able to make a choice? Whereas Marlene didn't give her a choice, which I think is really suspect, which is why she's not so clean. Some people might claim that she's clean. She's not so clean by not giving her a choice. I think Ellie will make the choice herself when the time comes in season 2, I imagine, because they said they're not going to do more seasons that don't have the source material as a backup. So, but man, what an incredible finale, exploring the idea of love and the terrible things we'll do for love sometimes, or to protect the people we love sometimes, the lines we're willing to cross, and the brutal reality that most humans will choose the people they love and know over people they don't love and know, even if it means you're sacrificing way more people to death just so you can keep these people alive. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but in this case, the needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. So just a fascinating finale that was incredibly well acted by everybody in here. So I'm just in a place of completely being blown away by this finale. Okay, I went longer than 12 minutes. I just had to process this one and go through it in my mind. But yeah, what a damn good finale for sure. And great performances. And Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann deserve all kinds of credit for ending this thing in such a bleak way. Most TV shows are scared to end it this way. And I appreciate the guts of them to end it this way on a black frame, a dystopian black frame. And we'll wonder where we go from here in Wyoming with Joel and Ellie when we pick them back up again in season 2. So just some great stuff here. What'd you think? What'd you think of the finale? Let me know down in the comment section below. Hit a like on this video, share it on your social media if you feel like it. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when dropping all the content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Okay, after a almost 4-hour live stream of the Oscars and then doing this, I am going to bed. And as I said, 7:30 p.m. PT tomorrow, we will be doing our live review, spoiler review of The Last of Us season finale. Get deeper into the concepts, deeper into things that were presented here on the finale tonight. So this was just my reaction and kind of mini spoiler review for this thing. I absolutely loved it, and it's one of the best series I've ever seen. Period. I'm going to be in the video game adaptation mode. Period. One of the best series I've ever seen. Period. That's how I'll put it. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new reaction video / spoiler review here on the Outlaw Nation. Peace, everybody.